them. So we've got farmers, which is great. I can quickly start a quote here. Now when I do that, I'm not actually quoting through this guy's agency. Yes, it is gonna tie it to him, but because the way that single independent agents work is the quoting is in their platform. It's in Farmers' platform, or Allstate's platform, or State Farm's platform, because they're exclusive companies. They only sell brick and mortar style. There, you go to an office, you can do it on the phone, but you know, outside of Geico and Progressive, I've actually had State Farm in some of the states. It's a swing. Maybe ask me in the comments and I'll answer it, but State Farm could be 10 times the price or half the price. So I'm finding that same thing with Allstate as well. Even though they're kind of the big box and everyone thinks that the big boxes are expensive, which they usually are, but I'm finding that in about a third of the states when you're under the age of 25, that sometimes they are the most get a quote, right? You plug in your zip code and you put in who you're currently with, the age, all that, and then you say, I am looking for home and auto, or I'm just looking for one vehicle, I'm age 18, 17, whatever the case is, and we'll say I'm with 21st Century. I click find, it's going to give me all of these companies. I think that I'm doing something, but in reality what they're doing is they're collecting my data, and they're going to sell that data to 7 other 10, 50, whatever they want or better. On your last grade report, you're typically going to get a discount. Now, if you don't live at home, if you're on campus, then you're going to sometimes get another discount if you're going to go under, for example, let's say you're going under your parents' policy. They get a discount if your school is more than 100 miles away. Now, it does matter if your car's at home or with you, but it still gives you some sort of a deal or a discount depending on what you choose in that option. Okay, so those are the main things that they're going to ask you. They may ask, normally would go to an office and talk to one specific person. Okay, so that's that type of it. So when I'm quoting with this platform, it's actually not going to give me the best, it's a good experience, but it's not going to give me multi-options. So you can do it online or call, but here's the cool part. You got their address if you want to go in. I would check because of COVID, a lot of places aren't open. They're usually working from home right now. And then you have their phone number, so I could call this company directly. I like that he has 5-star reviews. I sell them to. They may even sell them, if we're lucky, they'll sell them to one specific agency that really wants my data, right? But they're going to take all that data and sell them to other companies. Really good thing if you are okay with the stress of having 10, 15 phone calls in a day. Each of them are going to call you 2 to 3 times in that first day. And they're going to call you 1 or 2 times that second day. And then the 5th day, they're going to call you again. And then if you still don't answer or respond, they'll leave you alone. However, a year from now, they're going to resell that. Back here, paste, start quote. I'm on the property as well, unfortunately. So we want auto. It looks like they don't do home in Florida. So date of birth, we'll just say June 1st to 1994. And then click next. And then you can put your information in, so we're going to Jason Smith. Now, here's the thing. Don't make this stuff up, because what they are doing is when you're doing that, you want to make a good option. Different discount bundles, that's awesome. Student discounts, alumni discount, educator discounts. I really like that part of it. Let's go back to their homepage. Maybe I'm missing something on here. Oh, right there. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So some of the snapshots of who they're with. I would have liked to see that in color, because it draws your eyes to that. So AAA, Nationwide, Liberty Mutual, Travelers, that's a great one. I don't think they do car insurance in Michigan, though. I don't like to do fake quotes because it doesn't give anyone a benefit. An insurance agency near me, not agent. Okay, and I'll show you the difference here in just a moment. So if I'm looking up insurance agency, ignore this first section. Okay, this is great if you want to see a map. If you're looking for places that are close to you, you can very quickly see, okay, here's where I'm located, here's where this is, and you can see places that are nearby. The good thing is they've got ratings on here, so you can see the different rating factors, but I personally don't go by this for. What they'll do is they'll say, great, we're going to collect your information, we'll start a quote. And the reason they do that, let me go back to their home page, is because, and you see what I was talking about here where they show the people, they show locations, they've got reviews, so they've got 521 reviews, pretty much a 5-star, they've got a couple 4s. a couple threes. I personally like to read through them just to see how accurate that is, but I'm pretty confident with this one that they're going to be. I would do if you're looking to call somebody. If you're also doing that if you're going to go online and do a bunch of shops, if you're younger, here's what I would do. One, you may want to watch my video, wherever it is up here, that goes over the best options for young drivers, because it's a lot different when you're under the age of 25. If you're over the age of 25, I'm going to do that part last. So under the age of 25, I'm just going to tell you right now, go to Geico. Okay, Geico.com, for support back, you pay your money, you get everything, and you're like, oh, my name's misspelled. Hey, sir, ma'am, my name's misspelled, can you fix that? Yeah, absolutely. All set, great, thanks, click. You get in a bill in the mail for $1,200. Don't do that. Just make sure everything's correct. You're not making up names, date of birth. If you're that type of person that needs to hide that information, don't do the quote. It's not going to work. You're going to fight tooth and nail. I would be surprised if you find one company that will quote you without collecting all the information. They don't have information, so they're going to ask you your name, your date of birth, your address, if the car's parked at that address. They're going to ask if anybody else is in the house, if they're going to be driving the vehicle, if they are. Otherwise, they need to have their own insurance. So those are the main pieces that you can expect. And then there's a lot of little things that they should ask. So they should be asking a lot of discount questions. Some states allow you education discounts. Some states allow if you're married or single. Sometimes it's not really a discount, but it's a different rating, fat data. And then you're going to get another quote. So if you're okay with that, that will give you a really good option. But just keep in mind, you're going to be tied into getting phone calls or emails or texts for the next 1 to 5 years. That's just the way those systems work. And that's similar to what I do. I actually, if you guys ever ask for a quote, I work with one of the companies that you've actually seen in this video, and I basically send them your information because I know if you're in the state that their competitor video, if you're under 25, it'll talk about that. And then I'm going to click Start Quote. And then it's so simple. All of that data that I told you, it's going to walk you through that process. This case, I got an error because they hate Michigan right now. I don't want to say I hate. They don't do quotes over the internet. It's kind of their way of saying, we insure Michigan. I've actually know a friend that's with Geico in Michigan. But it is almost impossible. I tried to get a quote through them. I even did it by mail. I filled out the... Okay, they brought us there. Thank you, Google. But let's just type in Geico. Be a little bit careful. So this first link, just make sure it's Geico.com. If it's not, a lot of these companies, like Bankrate, is rating #1 for the search of Geico. So they have a really good review or some sort of talk about how Geico is great. If you go to their website, this is the warning that I would tell you. Whenever you go to these websites like Bankrate, they're going to say Gaverson Insurance Agency. So, which is what they're saying here. Oh, that must be their phone number. I don't know. And then Compass Insurance. So I know this website because I've been on it. The cool part about these guys is really quickly they do multiple states. Let's say I'm in Michigan, so let's click on Michigan. They can collect a lot of my data right here. So I can tell them who I am, what my car is, what my information is. They're not going to give me a quote online just because I've submitted through these guys. But really two pieces. There's two ways that you can do quotes. You can either do them online or you can call directly. And I'm going to walk through both of those options and tell you kind of the differences between them because there are some good and some bad to both of them. So to start off, the phone call is the easiest way to go. If you know where you're calling and you just want to get a quick answer, a quick quote, a couple things that you definitely need to be prepared for. 1, have the VIN number to the vehicle. If you don't have the vehicle, today I'm going to show you how to do an insurance quote online. So I'm going to give you some points and tips. This is mainly for the people that are new. If you're just getting into insurance as far as like a consumer and you don't know what the process is or the starting process to go through is, then I'm going to show you in this video right now. So I'm going to actually show over to my computer screen and we're just going to do some live examples of how to log in and do that. But there's a couple things I want to talk about before that. So the first thing is there's from AAA, that's a good one. I would go to their website directly. And what you're going to do is you're going to click the product. So I could click Start Quote if I'm looking for home and auto. They're saying that right here. Okay, I just want, excuse me, auto in this case. So I'm going to click auto, plug in my zip code, 49512, and then that's not my zip code, by the way. And then I'm going to either add a property. So if I'm a renter, by the way, it may be cheaper if you're a renter. Watch that, a whole piece of paper. I mailed them the quote, and then they called me, and then the lady left a voicemail that was so distorted I couldn't understand the phone number to call back. So I never got that quote. I was trying to do it for you guys. Let's go back and say a different zip code. I'm actually going to use, let's say, zip code in Florida. They're really good at, or competitive in Florida. So we're going to take this one here, Orange Park. Competitive. Like right now in Florida, if you're under 25 and you're looking for basic coverage, State Farm and Allstate are two of your top options, along with Geico, actually. So in the state of Florida, there's your answer. So depending on what state you're in, let me know in the comments below. But let's go through this. So let's kind of make up a quote here. There's a lot going on. You're really looking for that start quote. Now be careful, because if you're going to go to Google and you accidentally type in Geico, Geico.com, sometimes they're going to ask for odometer readings, so they'll actually get those. Sometimes when you get an oil change, it's already recorded. So just know that that's a thing. Typically the range that you're looking for is under 5,000 miles is normally you're retired or you're going to school and driving another vehicle. Above 5,000 to 10,000 is kind of its own little rating period, and that's more of the normal. So that's a little bit below the average, and then 10,000 to 15,000 or more, then it kind of slows factor. They also do like your location. Also, if you own the home or rent the home, have any special like endorsements, or if you are an engineer or a CPA or anything that helps. If you're younger, which was going to kind of participate to most of you, or whatever the word is, it'll pertain to most of you. That piece is going to be more so like grades. So if you're a good student, if you get a B or a 3.0 on average, that's what they're looking for, is a 3.0. What are you using the car for? So if you're going to school and back, that's the same as work and back for them. So just tell them what you use it for. They're going to ask how many miles it is to school or work, and then they're going to ask how many miles per year that you're going to drive. That's becoming a larger question for most companies, mainly because the mileage is starting to be a factor. It started to be kind of a little extra bonus piece that would help you for those that said, well, I don't drive much, give me a better deal, and that was an option. But now that everybody's like nitpicking, and I could tell that because this website is just kind of outdated, I would say. So yeah, so they put my first name, last name, they grab my email, how can they help me? So these guys quite literally won't let you quote online. They're just letting you do a quote through them collecting a couple things, and then they're going to call you. Okay, let's go through the last two. Progressive, if you wanted a local presence, so they are offering that local presence, so they're saying I can get directions to this places. I would give them a shot. I personally know that they're not competitive for me, but I would still try if I knew. So I would give Farmers a shot here because they were the first one that Google said. The second one, which is Rice and Fowler, they need a little bit of web design upgrades, but the cool part is when you see this usually leads me to believe that this is more of like an agency with multi-companies. They really need to show this on here, like first thing right on the front page. For some reason is competitive in almost every single state that I've seen when it comes to young drivers. That's the first one I would check. The second one is Progressive. Okay, I'm just going to click to their homepage. So progressive.com. And then the third one, this is tough because when you start to get in outside of these guys, each state is different. So I've been finding that in more cases than not, they're changing the laws, changing the rules, changing the guidelines, which is good. There's some stuff that I don't agree with that insurance companies charge for. And so because they're starting to change those things, really good things, they are nitpicking a little bit more because they still want to give you that best deal. And so they are going to charge someone that drives 50,000 miles more than the person that drives 8,000 miles. So know the mileage. Keep in mind, don't try to cheat the system. I know you're going to want to be like, oh, I drive 2 miles a year. Citizens, that's actually who I'm currently with for now. My price is going up a little bit. Grange, if I click on this, I can get some more details. So this is really well done. I wish it would have grabbed my attention a little bit more, but that's really good. Haggerty, CNA Surety, Michigan Insurance, Westfield's a decent one. Okay, so they've got a handful of companies as well. That's how you search online locally. That's what an option. Now here's the thing. When you look at these, let's say for example, let's go to this website. I'll pull it up at the top here. When you look at these, I search for agency, and Farmers is an agency, but they're not a multi-company. They're what's called an exclusive agent. And so they can only sell Farmers. They also do Foremost if you're not qualified for Farmers, but they're the same company. So Farmers and Foremost is all they have. They can't shop you across several different companies. And I know personally that in my area they're not very competitive. Great people. They're actually really good at training, so I started my career there. Kentwood Michigan Insurance, so I might look at this one. And then let's scroll nationwide. They go both, so they could be an exclusive or independent agent. Progressive, that's going to be a very common one. I'm kind of curious to where that leads me. And then Compass, which is a company that I've actually worked with. Great company, so let's use competitive and they've got companies that are competitive, then they'll actually send that information out. And then if you don't ever answer, they're going to call you in 6 months or a year because they think that you're going to renew around that same time. A little different than what these guys are doing. These guys are just selling it to the best bidder. And then when they're done, they'll resell it to the next best bidder. So just keep in mind when you're getting through these, don't get scammed. I'm not saying Bankrate is a scam. I'm just saying a lot of these companies do this. There's the, let's see. Never heard of them before. National General, I don't know much about them. I know they're more of like, I think they're a high risk. Don't quote me on that. I don't want to put that bad name on them, but I'm 60% sure they are. Safeco I love. State Auto's decent. Nationwide's a name brand, so if you want that name brand. So this one would be one I would do. So I would click at the bottom here and get quote, which is great. And it's probably going to refer me to them. I don't think it's going to collect my data very well. He's only got 5, so it kind of, I shy away from the ones that don't have like 20 or 30 or 40 or more than that, just because I could pay a friend or 10 friends to give me a review, right? So I'm not saying that they're doing that, but it's a trick, right? There's a lot of companies, some people aren't the most honest, and that's where insurance gets its bad rap, is because the ones that aren't are messing up for the ones that are. So he's on Yelp, that's awesome. So he's got a really good profile on here. So I would probably Safeco, State Auto. So they've got a really good handful with 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So 15 companies that they work through. Granted, about 8 of these don't actually do personal lines, so they're not just doing car insurance. Hagerty is like classic car. You got an 1823, whatever, Corvette or Mustang or something. You know, that it's like a show car. So that would be your Hagertys. And then, I don't even know who Markel is, to be honest with you. Make sure that you're giving your real name, because what happens is with State Auto, for example, I've actually worked with them. If you have the name misspelled and your license pulls in, sometimes it doesn't connect those and run your what are called motor vehicle reports. And so it won't connect you, and it'll give what's called a default score. So it'll just guess and say, well, the average person in this area is this. And it's going to rate you on that. You go to purchase it, you get all the paperly increments up. You could have a guy that drives 30,000 versus a guy that drives 20,000 miles, and you're not going to see much of a price difference there. Once it goes over that 15,000 mile mark, then it kind of just slowly creeps up from that point. So that's the parts that you're going to be looking for. Those are some of the discounts just to be mindful of. Now, if you're going to do a search, let's just use my location. I'm actually going to pull up my screen here. And we're going to go ahead and Google insurance near us. So I'm going to type a whole lot, just because this is not shopping for the best value. It's shopping for the best location. And I'm looking for the best deal. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to skip past these. Watch out for these little circles, these little spots that say ad, because they're not even in your market. They're just advertising over top of these guys. Okay, so agent.farmers.com, these are some of the ones, there's no ad there, so I may actually call that one as a get a VIN number to a similar vehicle. Try to get the same trim, same model, same engine if at all possible. Just go to Google and type in the car you're looking for and pretend like you're going to buy one. Find the VIN number, pull it off, because that vehicle make and model, there's different trim levels. So the price can be based on many factors, but that's one of them. Especially if you have a turbo versus not having a turbo. Those are big differences in costs. So that's the first piece that you're going to have. Be prepared to give all of your YouTube. I'm trying to find out where these companies are. I think one of them is called All Web Leads, AWL. Or All Web Leads. So they collect information on different websites. What they are, they're just masters at marketing. They know what keywords are there, and that's how they're collecting your data. So personally, make sure if you want a specific quote from Geico, from Progressive, because I'm going to have to find out a little bit on my own. So we are independent insurance companies. So this should have been like plastered all over the front page. But because they came in second on this list, I'm going to give them a really good shot. Let's look at the insurance companies they're with. AAA, American Modern, Foremost. So see how Foremost is allowed to shop, not just Farmers. Gleaner, Grange, Haggerty, Hanover, Liberty Mutual, Markel, Nationwide, Progressive,